So today I was watching Boaster stream and he said something very interesting that I've wanted to make a video about for a while. Here it is.
Kind of game plan in my opinion. Also, they used 2 OTs on a round where they got ecos. Like, I'm never a fan of that. I don't like seeing OTs on a round where you got ecos. Mainly because it's so hard to convert, and now they don't have OTs for the last 2 rounds, which could have played the difference for them. Whereas this one team has the Killjoy OT still.
So that, I think, is the conventional wisdom about how you should use your ults, in terms of don't use ults on ecos because you're not likely to win anyway, and you might just end up wasting your ults like that team did there. The thing is, though, a lot of other top teams, most notably EG, have a pretty different philosophy, as you can tell by this round here. So this is from the grand final of champs, and I'm just going to show that in this round they have a Killjoy lockdown and a Seekers, right? 2 pretty big, important ults that you want to get good value out of, but just look at their buy. Yes, they've got the 1 rifle that they saved from the round prior, but other than that, we've got a Sheriff light shields and literally 3 classics with not even shields, right? Like, this is as bad as it's going to get, other than that saved rifle, you know, for a lot of these rounds. But take a look at what EG do.
Well, let's see how well they handle it this time. Flash there, Ethan committed and getting closer. On the other side, something. They put 1 shot down range and then fall away. I think they've read this stack very well.
Right, Ethan down to 11 HP. On the other side, I think Forsaken takes a bit of chip damage. But puts Paperx in a position to capitalize, find some space on the other side of the map. Com has to respect
Look at this.
Pain Show actually brings him down to 45 HP.
A gorgeous side take though, everything accounted for. Crossing the T's, dotting the I's. Yes, they know they're up against probably a broken buy, but they're still so methodical. One's gonna go down. And now they rescind away from the site slightly, actually. Tell a lie, they're leaving at least 2 players still towards us. The lockdown gonna be coming in as well.
Lockdown here, there's only 1 rifle and the Seekers available.
And the Seekers just went through, yeah, flash to force Jing away. Gap now closed, but they need to close down these kills. Boostio's the one to do the first, but look at the response from something. Instantaneous and clear cut! Boostio, what is going on? Oh my good God!
So here they are in this position, right, with 3 classics and a Sheriff and just the 1 rifle, and they are going to use the lockdown, right? And the spike's gone down, so their win chances have gone even further down, right? Because the spike is now down for the attackers as well. 5v5 retake, very, very tough, right? But they commit both the lockdown and they're going to commit the Seekers before anyone gets a kill, right? So this brings up the point, who's right? Because EG did win this round, but of course, if EG did lose this round, right? If Boostio does, like, lose this fight against something here, let's say, right? This 1v1. If Boostio loses that fight and they lose the round, you know, you probably go like, oh, what are you doing, right? You just wasted 2 massive ults. Obviously, we see it goes right for EG, but you can also see the other side as well of, if this did go wrong, have you just wasted 2 ults? So who is right in this debate, and should you use ults on ecos? Well, I think this is quite an interesting debate, and to me, it actually changes depending on where you are in the half. So let me try and explain. And the first consideration for me is that Valorant is a game that is first to 13. And 13 isn't a massive number. It means that if you're just completely giving up on your ecos and not even giving them a chance, right, and refusing to ever use ults in them, then you're essentially just giving your opponent that round, and that round represents a roughly 7.5% of the entire game, right? That would be much more acceptable if Valorant was first to 100, right? Where each individual round doesn't matter that much, whereas in the first to 13, each round does matter quite a bit. The second thing as well is when you win an eco round, it can often be a bit of an economic boom, right? You can end up in a situation like EG where anyone who survived that eco round actually ends up with a ton of money, right? Because you were saving anyway, but you won the round and you probably got to pick up a gun as well. So anyone who lived that round gets a ton of money like Common Boostio did here. But I think the main consideration for what I'm going to argue here is that after round 12 in Valorant, there is a hard reset. Doesn't matter if you had your ult, if you were one off it or whatever, right? Everything resets after 12 rounds and you go back and you swap sides, right? So that is a hard cutoff point, and that is how I think we should be thinking about this problem. Because for me, if we're in the early to middle rounds, let's say round 1, and I'm going to define it up to 8, but you could argue it's 7 or whatever, right? If you want to, that's fine. But for me, in these first 8 rounds of a half, I like EG's approach, right? Where we go for it and we're trying to win ecos. And obviously, if you're in like a 2v5 and you've only got classics, yeah, you're not using an ult when, you know, the chances are 0. We have no chance of winning the round pretty much. You know, yeah, in those situations, we're not using our ults. But if we still feel like we have a realistic shot at doing this, then I like it for EG using their ults, even on ecos, even as bad as it was in that round against Paper Rex. But then if we are past round 8 and we're going for like round 9 onwards, that's actually where I agree with Boaster. And I don't think that EG's approach that if we had an eco in these rounds, we should be using our ults. And the reason for that is because of this hard cutoff point, right? Again, if we use our ults in these first 8 rounds, we have a chance of actually getting a second ult before the half ends, right? So if we use our ult out here, then we have a chance of getting another ult by the time the half ends, and we can, you know, potentially get another one. Whereas if we got our ult in round 6 and we didn't get to use it till round 9 or 10, we're probably not going to get another ult in that half, and so at that point we've only got one ult to use. And that, I think, is really the crucial point of how it changes as we go from the early mid rounds to the late rounds. Because if we can get another ult in this half, we should be trying to use our ults basically as soon as possible to maximize the chances that we get another ult in that half, right? Whereas as we get to these later rounds in 9, 10, 11, 12, we're probably not going to get another ult anyway, so we should be looking to maximize the value of the one ult that we do have and finding the perfect opportunity to use that ult. Now, on Boaster's side of the argument here, you might say that having certain ults just in your pocket can affect how your opponent is going to play the round. For instance, this is an instance where Sadak has his KO ult on Ascent, and that's going to force EG here and force Boostio to play a bit of a different setup, right? Where he's away from this B site so that he can still use his utility if Loud come for the B exec, you know, with that KO ult. Now, the thing is, Loud don't have to use that KO ult this round if they don't want to. And then the question becomes, well, EG, are you just going to do this every single round that I've got this KO ult, right? You're just going to set up for this kind of B retake every single time I've got it? Because then if you think that that is going to be the case, you know, that's a big weakness for, you know, the defenders, because now we know what you're doing and you're having to play this very kind of weird way that, you know, you normally wouldn't do if I didn't have my KO ult. And this is seen for, you know, things like a breach ult as well, right? Where you might play off the site if you're up against a breach ult or a killjoy lockdown or whatever, right? It might force your opponents to play in a bit of a different way if they are scared of your ult, and therefore conserving that ult and waiting for the right time to use it can actually provide benefits in other rounds. So who's right? Is it EG or is it Boaster? Well, as I kind of said, for me it's kind of both, and it depends on exactly where you are in the half itself. And it's a very complex problem, and I don't think there is a perfect answer for it right now. I've explained what I think. Early middle rounds, if you think you've got a shot, use your ults. As you start going to the later rounds, that's when you're looking to maximize the one ult you've got, and you're looking for the best possible moment to use that ult in those last couple of rounds. But this is by no means gospel on this situation, and there's plenty of factors to consider as well, including what exact ult is it and stuff like that. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you think? Do you think that there is a clear, fast, hard answer to this? Or do you agree that it's a bit dependent on the exact situations that you find yourselves in? Let me know in the comments down below.